fallacy.
This is a demonstration.
What we should be doing is we should be
Wirecast.
saying, no, actually Allah wants both things from me. He wants religiosity, He wants humanitarian work. They are two sides of the same coin. My teacher used to say this. He says, service to mankind and service to God are two sides of the same coin. The coin is not complete without the other. But then don't neglect one. And sometimes we get into nonsensical arguments. I'll talk about this in another lecture, but just a snippet. We get into nonsensical arguments. We say things like, well, I don't pray, but at least I support a charity. I may not be doing this that Islam wants, but at least I'm helping someone. So what? Do both. It's not or, it's and. You do both, inshallah. So, Imam says, Salat, increase. Sadaqah, increase. What dua? And ask from Allah. Get together. Either you can recite in your own language, English, Swahili, Gujarati, Urdu, whatever. Either in your own language, or take a textual dua and recite it together from Mafati, from Sahifa, whatever. You can do that. So make Fridays very special. Let the children especially feel that Fridays we have done an ibadah together. You'll see the amazing effect of this, inshallah. Third hadith from our Imam. Imam says, Arba'u man kunna fihi bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah.
Of Wirecast.
Imam says, I'm going to tell you 4 things that if you can act upon these 4 things, Allah will build for you a house in paradise. In other words, your akhirat is going to be positive. Man awal yatim. May Allah give us tawfiq to think about these orphans in the world. Imam says, one who takes care of an orphan. Again, it comes back to the same kind of thing. Find a cause. And in these causes, especially orphans have been highly recommended in Islam, that we don't forget them. So find a cause where you are taking care of a yatim. وَالرَّحِمَ الضَّعِيفِ. And one who has kindness towards a weak one. Could be in the community, could be in the family, could be in wider society, could be your neighbor, could be the guy down the road, could be someone you know, could be a phone call. But have mercy towards the weak. Second. Third, وَأَشْفِقَ عَلَى وَالِدَيْهِ. And someone who is kind and merciful to his parents. This is the third. Many people say, our kids don't respect us. The question to ask back is, do you respect your own parents? Your elderly parents, do you respect them? Because believe me, when you do that, your children will pick up on that and they will start to respect you as well, inshallah. وَرَفَقَ بِمَمْلُوكِهِ. وَرَفِقَ بِمَمْلُوكِهِ. And someone that shows kindness to one of his employees. Those of us who are in positions where we have employees, let us do that. Let us be merciful and kind, and let the children see that. Not that we do it for the children, we do it qurbatan ilallah, but let the children pick up on these things, and inshallah they follow in our footsteps. So these were 4 things. Now, the 4th hadith from Imam Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Now we go a bit deeper, right? These were basic, these were things, inshallah, we generally tend to do anyway. Now we go a little bit deeper. Imam says, Al-Kamal. Do we want families who are quite good or sometimes good? No, I'm sure, like me, you want your family to be as good as possible. To the highest level possible. So we don't want to settle for something mediocre. We want good families, right? We want وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ imama. We want those who are leaders of the pious. Imam says, Al-Kamal kullul Kamal. Perfection in its entirety rests in 3 things. And every household, parents, grandparents, children, or whatever dynamics you have in your household should be looking at these 3 things. Number 1,
This is a
التفقه
demonstration
في
of
الدين.
Wirecast.
I don't know how to emphasize the importance of this. Having a good grasp of knowledge about religion. A fairly in-depth knowledge of your faith. Islamic knowledge. So that when things come and they confront you, you are able to decipher
Demonstration of Wirecast.
what you should do about it. I know all of us have alims at the end of the phone and on our WhatsApps, and all of these things are there, and we can shoot off a message, but it's not the same. It's not the same as you yourself knowing or having a feeling based on your Islamic knowledge of what to do. Here, let me give a caution. I'm not talking about fiqh. Fiqh is not what I mean. Fiqh is a tawzihul masail of your marja. He has taken pains and efforts to give you these fatwas. You can refer to fiqhi issues. That's not the issue here. I'm talking about akhlaqi issues. Your son comes home and says, I've been invited to a party. What do? All my friends are going. Your daughter says, there's an outing to so-and-so place. Should I go? In school, there's something that compromises some of our principles. What should we do? There's an event, maybe even in the community, maybe even in a marriage, and we're not comfortable because there may be music there, or there may be inappropriate mixing there. What do? These are akhlaqi issues. Now, if you have a grasp upon religion, and if you have a grasp upon teachings of Ahlul Bayt, believe me, your conscience will be very clear. And you will say, I know what to do based on this teaching, or I read this. So, each and every one of us must have a familiarity to a certain extent with our religion. By this hadith, at-tafaqquh fi ad-din means expertise in these matters of religion. Number 2, was-sabr ala naiba. Second thing that should be in a perfect household is sabr upon calamity. Someone tell me the meaning of sabr. Patience, tolerance, patience. I would like to suggest you not patience, not tolerance.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I would say perseverance. Perseverance is the better word for patience in many circumstances. That you bring into your household, in your children, into yourself, a sense of perseverance. That not necessarily we wrap them in cotton wool all the time. Sometimes it's healthy for the children to know some of the realities of life and how to deal with it. The amount of times I have had cases on my table, and this is not something I do, but for whatever reason, these are brought to my attention. Cases upon my table of marriage breakups. Why? Because they've got married and they're not prepared for the realities of life. They can't accept what's going on. They're stressing out left, right and center. There is a lot of rows and arguments taking place. They can't handle it. They want a divorce. They want to split. House is broken. Kids are left. Some of it is to do with not being prepared for the realities of life. So inshallah we get our children a little bit more acquainted according to the levels of age and maturity to these kinds of things. And thirdly, from the fifth Imam, he says, وَتَقْدِيرُ الْمَعِيشَةِ. In every household, there should be a process and a system of good economizing of your finances.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Alhamdulillah, in the West, we have lots of opportunities. Generally speaking, compared to other places in the world, economically, we are doing better. What that can tend to do is to lead us into spending frivolously, spending without any accountability or sense of accountability. Imam says, do taqdeerul ma'isha. Learn to economize and teach your children to economize. One quick story with one salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
There was a boy, his father was a baker. He comes to his father one day and says, Baba, I want more responsibility. I'm ready, I'm maturing. I want more responsibility. Can you give me some more responsibility in the house to do things, to take care of certain things? You can trust me. The father says, no problem.
This is a demonstration of
on
Wirecast.
one condition. You bring me 1 dirham that you have earned. Dirham, in today's money, let's say £5, $5. Bring me 1 dirham that you have earned. The boy is smart. Where does he go? He goes to Mummy. He says, Mom, can I have 1 dirham? Mom says, there you go. He goes to his father. He says, Baba, dirham.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Father takes a dirham, throws it into the fire of the bakery. The father says, no, I told you, you have to earn it. The son is thinking, now how did he know that? This is before cell phones and before any, immediate conversation can take place that I've given him a dirham. How did he know that? So what does he do? He goes back to Mom. Mom, can I have another dirham? Here you go, here's another dirham. Baba, dirham.
This is
Baba takes a dirham, puts it into the fire.
Wirecast.
Says, no, I told you, I want you to earn it. The child is thinking, how does he know this? Again, he tries one more time. Mom, dirham. She gives him dirham. He takes it to the father. Father puts it in the fire again and says, look, I'm not going to keep telling you. You need to go and earn it. He said, okay, somehow he knows this. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to earn this dirham. He goes, he takes some things that he has. He goes out, he sells them. He makes a bit of profit here, a bit of profit there, puts the money together, and he has 1 dirham. He goes to the father and says, Baba, dirham. Father takes the dirham, puts it into the fire. The son runs to the fire, risks burning his hand and takes out the dirham and says, no, Baba, this is a dirham which I've earned. Father says, yes, now I believe you that this one you have earned. This one is the result of your sweat and toil. Those ones were not. You were not bothered. I threw it in the fire. You didn't even react.
This is a demonstration.
So sometimes
of
we need to
Wirecast.
understand that these bounties come with accountabilities and they come at cost and they come with effort. So we teach our children a little bit of this. Everything cannot be yes. Sometimes, somewhere we should say no, even sometimes on principle. See, some people think, well, I can afford it, so what's the big deal? You can afford it, that's fine. But is it justified? Can you justify it? Will you answer to Allah?
Of Wirecast.
Is it having a positive effect on your child? Think about these things, inshallah. With salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The 5th point is on the same lines. We should be aware and very conscious of real love and false love. We love our children. Sometimes our love is manifested as real love, and sometimes it is manifested, unfortunately, as false love.
This is a demonstration.
Generally, what we
of
think is, if I
Wirecast.
give my child what he or she wants, that is love. Islam says no, not necessarily. So the hadith is this: Sharrul Aba, the worst of parents, is one whose love takes him towards extremity. For example, saying yes to everything. For example, spoon feeding. For example, spoiling. You'll see some children, the results of being spoiled, what it is, it becomes a nightmare.
This is a
And then when reality hits, they cannot take it because they're not used to it. So Sharrul Aba, the worst of parents, is one whose love takes him towards an extreme. Wa Sharrul Abna, and the worst of children is one who man da'ahu taqassur ila al-uquq, who treats his parents to such an extent badly that the parent is actually sick and tired of him and wants to just get rid of him, and that is known in Arabic as aq. Aqe walidain.
This
So
is
here
a
we have to be aware of
demonstration
extremities.
Wirecast.
Now, the next one is very interesting. The next one is all about, when I read this, my mind went onto social media. Social media is a reality. Some of us like it, some of us don't like it. Some of us understand it, some of us don't understand it. Some of us are making money from it, some of us are not making any money from it. Personalities spring up, they become social media stars, it's a big thing. Yeah? This is very interesting from our fifth Imam. He says,
of Wirecast.
if you want to see that do you have inside you any goodness, right? So we're looking for signs now. Let's look at our children. Are they okay? Are they doing okay? Are they on the right path? Is there anything concerning? He says that if you want to know whether you have goodness in you, فَانْظُرْ إِلَىٰ قَلْبِكَ. Look into your heart. If your heart loves those
This is a demonstration of
who
Wirecast.
are people of obedience of Allah, so if someone loves those who are the obedient servants of Allah, there's a godly side of them. They know Allah, they know worship of Allah, they know fear of Allah, they know their boundaries, they know halal, they know haram, they understand these things and they respect them. وَيَبْغُضُ أَهْلَ مَعْصِيَتِهِ. And your heart dislikes those who are anti-God, non-godly. See, again,
This
another
is a
misconception.
demonstration of Wirecast.
We sometimes think that we cannot, for example, dislike anyone. Everyone has to be seen as good. Yes, as a principle, yes. But when you have evidence in front of you that there's a non-godly thing there, or a non-godly person, and this has to be clear. We're not talking about ambiguities. We're not talking about people who we meet, for example, at the mosque. No, here we have to be very careful that we judge people on a positive light. But where you have, for example, some social media stars who are making money from definitely haram things, definitely non-godly things, causing corruption in society, and if our children are idolizing them, and if our children are looking at pious people and saying, no, I can't relate to him, I can't relate to her, this is not what it is, then there's a problem. Imam says, if you want to know if you have goodness inside you, look at who you idolize. Do you have love for the people of Allah? Do you have dislike for the people who are non-godly? فَفِيكَ خَيْرٍ. In this case, inside you is goodness. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّكَ. And Allah will love you in return. وَإِذَا كَانَ يَبْغُضُ أَهْلَ طَاعَةِ اللَّهِ. And then on the flip side, if however you, your children, anyone, loves those who stand for the disobedience of God and hate those who stand for the obedience of God, فَلَيْسَ فِيكَ خَيْرٍ. Then there is no goodness in you. وَاللَّهُ يُبْغِضُكَ. And Allah will dislike you.
Wirecast.
وَالْمَرْءُ مَعَ مَنْ أَحَبَّ. And remember that a person will be raised on the day of judgment with one whom he loves. A person will be raised with one he loves. There's this famous Quranic ayat, the Arabic is not coming to me at the moment, that you will be raised with your Imam. كُلُّ أُنَاسٍ نَدْعُونَ بِإِمَامٍ. Yes. Every group of people will be called forth on the day of judgment with their leader. Now, it feels very good for us to automatically say, well, our Imam is, for example, Imam Zamana, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Or in my life, I did Ziyarat of Karbala 10 times. My Imam is Imam Hussein. Or I loved Imam Ali. I used to do Nara Haidari, left, right and center. I used to listen to his poetry all the time. My Imam is Imam Ali. It's very easy for us to say that. But in reality, it is who you truly love.
Of Wirecast.
So do not be surprised. This is what our teachers used to say. Do not be surprised if you see on the Day of Judgment, some people are raised not with these Imams, but with Fir'aun. Why? Why Fir'aun? Because he's the Imam of takabbur and pride. Do not be surprised if you're raised with a tyrant. If you are tyrannical, then do not be surprised if you're raised with a tyrant, etc., etc. So we must be very careful of this.
This is
Seventh
a
point from our
demonstration
fifth
of
Imam,
Wirecast.
Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. This is now something that we can apply to our Jamaat. Any Jamaat, not just this one. I'm talking about any Jamaat in the world. Community, Jamaat, extended family. Usika an tattakhidha saghir al-muslimina walada. I think if we can implement this, I don't know to what heights, inshallah, we can ascend. Imam says, I advise you to take the young of the Muslims as your son. Could it be that in a Jamaat, I have 3 sons, for example, and I spot another child of another father and mother who has more potential and more ability and more, for example, God consciousness than my own children, and I say, you know what? He hasn't got the resources to get him where he needs to go. I will fund him. That is the spirit of this hadith. That you see other children like your own children. And that if you see someone with potential and they don't have the resources to get there, you make them get there if you have the ability. وَأَوْسَطَهُمْ أَخَا. And I see, he says, I advise you to look at those of your own age group as your brothers.
Of Wirecast.
Someone said this to me, I felt so bad. This guy offended me. This guy said this about me, blah, blah, blah. How long? How long are we going to hold on to these grudges and these issues and take all this baggage with us? Come on. If it's your own brother or sister, we are able to forgive and forget. We're able to look past it. But when it's others, because we see them as other, we can't look past it. Imam says, don't look at them as other. Look at them as your own family.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
وَأَكْبَرُهُمْ أَبَا. And the elders as your fathers or mothers. فَارْحَمْ وَلَدَكْ. Therefore have mercy upon your children. Which children? Biological? Not necessarily. It could be that another child is needing and is in need of comforting and support, and I should support them. وَسِلْ أَخَاكَ. And make amends with your brother.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And be good to your father. In other words, be good to the elders. Be good to your own age group and be fatherly towards the younger ones. Finally, 8th point from our beloved Imam, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam says how to make our du'as effective and answered.
This is a demonstration of
أوشك
Wirecast.
دعوة وأسرع إجابة دعاء المرء لأخيه بظهر الغيب. The best way of asking dua and the quickest way of getting your duas answered is when a person prays for his own brother without his brother even knowing about it. In other words, in our prayers, to pray for each other. This is one of the secrets of duas, that you put 40 people before yourself.
This is a demonstration
40
of Wirecast.
mu'mineen before yourself. This is the spirit of namaz-e-shab as well, that we mentioned 40 people. And you know, for example, the famous incident where Janab Fatima salamullahi alayha, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, was stood in prayer for a long time. Imam Hassan alayhi salam at that time was very young, and he was listening to his mother's du'as, and he asks his mother, he says, "Oh mother, you have been standing for so long reciting, I have not heard a single du'a for us." She says, "Bunayya, al-jar thumma ad-dar." First the neighbors, then ourselves. We pray for others first. This is the way to get our du'as answered. But that requires a very unselfish attitude, isn't it? If you harbor selfishness, that what I have should stay with me and should not go to anyone else, then this is not going to work. An unselfish attitude will allow this kind of thing to
This is
flourish.
a demonstration of Wirecast.
So in this way, with these 8 points, and of course there are many, many more from this Imam and other Imams, we see Islam really building a very nice picture for us of how to structure and nurture our families. May Allah give us tawfiq to fulfill this description that is given in the Quran of a godly family, a God-fearing family, a family that cares about others, that is dutiful to Allah, dutiful to the creation of Allah. They are two sides of the same coin.
This
One cannot exist without the other.
Wirecast.
Let us not ever say these nonsensical arguments that at least I'm good to others, maybe I don't pray. No, that's not acceptable. At the same time, that we pray only and don't look after our neighbors and wider society. No, Islam expects both. Inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Our 8th Imam says to his companion, Shabib ibn Rayan, he says, Yabna Shabib, in kunta bakiyan li shay'in fabki lil Hussein. O son of Shabib, if you are ever to cry upon anything, then cry upon Hussein, because he was slaughtered in the way that the animals are slaughtered. Our history tonight picks up on the story of Janab Hur. Hur was a man of Kufa, known for his nobility, known for his bravery, known for his strength, and known for his courage. Ubaidullah wanted Imam Hussein to be arrested and brought to him. He was given the name of Hur. He was told, Hur, being the man he is, can do this for you. Hur did not know, and Ubaidullah did not know, that Imam Hussein leaving Makkah, how many people will he have with him? 1,000, 10,000, 5,000? He didn't know. So Hur, to be on the safe side, took 1,000 men with him, and the plan was, before Hussein ibn Ali reaches Kufa, we ride out and we intercept. So it so happens that Imam Hussein was coming towards Kufa. Hur was riding away from Kufa. The idea was to intercept Imam, but in the middle of both of these groups, there was a hill. And you know, for example, in military matters, to have the upper ground is advantageous. One who occupies upper ground has the upper hand in a battle. So Imam's forces see Hur's forces see Imam's. They both understand that we need to reach the hill first. Imam and his forces gallop and run. The same thing with Hur. Who reaches first? Imam. Imam reaches first and occupies the hill. Janab Hur is second to reach. What does Imam do? Does Imam gloat? Does Imam taunt? Imam shows us whose son he is. He says, Hur and his men look thirsty.
This is a demonstration
Give them water.
of Wirecast.
Someone said to Hussein that, oh Mawla, we have just filled our water skins just recently. If we give all of this water away, we will not have anything left. Imam says, give all of them water, and even their animals should drink from this water. They are all given water. Imam asks a question to Hur. He says, Laka am alayna? Lana am alayna? Are you with us or are you against us? Hur says, we are against you, Yabna Rasulillah. I have been sent here to stop you. Imam says to Hur, Al-maut adna min dhalik. Death will be easier for you than to stop me. In other words, don't dare to do this. Hur says, I have my orders. You are not to proceed to Kufa. Imam says, Hur, I have no issue with you. I will not go to Kufa. I will turn and I will head back. The army of Hur release their spears, and the spears are held in front of the faces of Imam and his companions. Zuhair ibn Qayn tells Imam, let us defeat them now. They are only a few. We can defeat them now. If not, then I fear that thousands more may come, which prove to be true. Imam says, I will not begin the bloodshed. The time of namaz approaches. Azan is given. Hur says to Imam, you lead, we will pray behind you. Imagine, stopping the son of Mawla Ali and the grandson of the Prophet from reaching Kufa, but yet he wants to pray behind him. Imam says to Hur, O Hur, thaqalatka ummuk, may your mother weep over you. Then Hur says something, and ulama say that this is the turning point in Hur's qismat, or his whole ideology, his whole thinking changes at this moment. Hur says, Yabna Rasulullah, O grandson of the Holy Prophet, had your mother been anyone other than Janab Fatima, I would not have heard these words, and I would have given you a similar comment back, which shows that Hur had a love of Ahlul Bayt. He had a love and a reverence and a respect for the Ahlul Bayt. In any case, Hur diverts Imam into Karbala. Imam goes into Karbala. The tents are set up. It seems from history that Hur never intended for Ashura to take place. It looks like we see that Hur thought that some kind of compromise will be reached and bloodshed will be averted. So up until Ashura, Hur is in the camp of Yazid. On the day of Ashura, on the morning of Ashura, when the plans are drawn that actually we are going to attack the camp of Ahlul Bayt and finish them, Hur loses the color from his face. He loses the peace in his heart. He begins to pace up and down. Someone sees him and says, "Oh Hur, you are one of the bravest that we have. Why do you look so worried?" He says, "Do me one favor. Put your ear to the wind and tell me, what do you hear?" The man listens attentively. He says, "Oh Hur, all I hear are the cries of children saying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, that this thirst is too much. We cannot take it without any water." Hur says, "This is the very reason that I am pacing up and down. I have a choice in front of me to put Hussein under my sword or to go to him and ask for forgiveness. Janab Hur decides that I must ride out. I must protect my honor and my akhirat. I will go to Hussein." He tells his servant and he tells his son. He says, "Let us go. I am going." They say, "We will come with you." They all ride out. Janab Hur says, "I cannot face Hussein. I cannot look into the eyes of the grandson of Rasulullah. Tie a blindfold around my eyes and tie my hands behind my back." When they ride out and Imam Hussein sees them, Janab Hur goes in front of Aba Abdullah. Janab Hur falls down. Imam says, "What is the matter?" He says, "Oh Mawla, I have come to ask you for forgiveness. Will you forgive me?" Imam must have thought, "Oh Hur, do you not know whose son I am? My mother was very kind. My father was very kind. Of course we forgive you." He lifts up Hur. He unties the hands. He unties the blindfold. Janab Hur now says, "Oh Imam, it is because of me that you are here in Karbala. Allow me to go and give my life for you." Imam allows him to go. They say that Janab Hur and his son begin to fight together. As they are fighting together, because of the heat of the battle, they are somehow separated. Hur ends up on one side, the son ends up on another side. Before long, what does Hur hear? The son of Hur is struck to the ground and he cries out, "Ya Abata adrikni, oh father, come to me." Janab Hur rushes to his son, but not before something happens. This is unique in Karbala, that Imam Hussein intercepts Hur at this time. He puts his arm around Hur. He says, "Hur, I will come with you. I will help you. I will support you." Hur says, "Why?" He says, "No father should have to go and attend to the dead body of his own son." We say, "Imam, you were able to accompany Hur to pick up the body of the son of Hur. But when Ali Akbar fell to the ground, Imam, you were there. You had to go to Ali Akbar's side. You had to go and hold Ali Akbar for the last time." Allah la'natullah al-qawmi al-zalimin. Matum Hussein.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. کربلا کربلا یہ تو بتا، کربلا کربلا یہ تو بتا، کربلا کربلا یہ تو بتا، ظلم سرحد میں تیری کیوں کر ہوا، کربلا کربلا یہ تو بتا، کربلا کربلا یہ ایک مسافر آیا تھا تیرے یہاں جس کا نانا تھا رسول دو جہاں، نور عین فاطمہ حیدر کی جان، کیا ہوا وہ ساربان کارواں، کربلا کربلا یہ تو بتا، کربلا کربلا یہ دوش احمد پر چڑھا تھا وہ حسین، گود زہرا میں پلا تھا وہ حسین، دل برے مشکل کشا تھا وہ حسین، ذبح خنجر سے ہوا تھا وہ حسین، کربلا لاش پر جب سے تھے پیغمبر گئے، بولے تنہا تم لب کوثر گئے۔